second step toward property tax relief was taken in the State House. And here to discuss this is one of the bill's supporters, State Representative Doyle Heffley of the 122nd District in Carbon County. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about this plan for property tax relief that passed the House of Representatives?
Yes. House Bill 504 was amended on the House floor with language from a property tax proposal that had been worked on for about maybe 4 to 6 months here in Harrisburg. This plan, while it doesn't get us everywhere we want to be with elimination, is a good step in the right direction. It'll provide anywhere from about 38 to 68% property tax dollar for dollar reductions across the Commonwealth, and will significantly assist those residents in Carbon County which are struggling right now with high property tax bills.
What type of controls are in place to prevent taxes from being raised, a large amount?
Yeah, and that's one of the basic questions people are asking right now is, okay, it's not total elimination as a lot of folks wanted, and I myself had wanted that as well, but this is what we could get right now. It was passed with 105 votes in the House. It was a very narrow margin as it now goes to the Senate. But what I like about the bill is it does build in dollar for dollar relief, meaning every dollar that's generated from these new taxes will go directly back for millage rate reductions and homestead exemptions and providing relief for property taxpayers. In that, the built-in mechanism to try to control those costs is the Act 1 index. In 2011, we passed Act 25, which took away a lot of the exemptions. So right now there's 3 remaining exemptions against the Act 1 index. So the Act 1 index is an inflationary index which school boards can raise taxes to the rate of that Act 1 index without having to go to vote or referendum. Aside from that, there's 3 exemptions. And those exemptions were grandfather debt, pension cost, and special education cost. With the pension, with Act 120, the pension costs, those exemptions will go away in 2 years, and school districts will no longer be allowed to use that exemption to raise above the Act 1 index. Grandfather debt, there's only 7 school districts which still can file for that exemption. Okay. So we're really down to 1 exemption, which is special education, and that we're actually working on a commission to fund how we fund special education to relieve that burden from the school districts. Aside from that, the PIT tax and the sales and use tax, which we use to generate the additional revenue to provide property tax relief, those funds generally grow at an annual rate. As that growth comes in, so the school districts in the first year will get a baseline of funding for dollar relief. The next year, that fund grows by whatever that percentage is of growth or whatever that dollar amount is. When that money is generated back to the school, they must provide or allow for that extra additional revenue to be applied against the Act 1 index. So it's not a windfall of new money. This is still giving dollar for dollar. So they have to apply that against the Act 1 index before they have to go to a vote or referendum. And that could significantly, some of the numbers that we had seen, if right now, if school districts are raising taxes across the state by about $360 million a year, with the growth in the PIT and the sales and use, that could be up to $270 million a year. So really bringing that down to what school districts are going to be able to raise across the Commonwealth, $70 million a year without going to vote or referendum, is significantly going to reduce any kind of future increases in property taxes. And I think that's one of the keys to this proposal. There were a lot of talk was made on the House floor, people that didn't support this proposal because there weren't cost controls, but a lot of the same folks that talked against House Bill 504 and didn't support it are the same folks that don't support 76, because in those districts property taxes aren't as big of an issue as what we have in northeastern Pennsylvania. So I look forward to working and pushing this proposal forward, because I do think while it's not everything we wanted, it's a good step, a huge step in the right direction.
And you mentioned House Bill 76, which you've supported. What are some of the similarities or some of the, I don't know, maybe common themes from that are in this legislation?
Mm-hmm. Well, House Bill 76, as I voted for it on the House floor, supported it, and have co-sponsored every year since I've been in office, and held many town hall meetings to discuss it, is something that I fully support. However, we haven't been able to get that across the finish line yet, and we really took a lot of the proposals that are in House Bill 76 and said, okay, what can we take and what can we get passed now? Because to go back to our voters every year and say, look, we couldn't get this done, we couldn't get that done, and if we can provide 50%, or sometimes in some of these school districts almost 68% relief from burdensome property taxes, because it is a regional issue in that, you know, the Jim Thorpe School District, which I represent, is fourth highest per average per your annual salary. The money that goes to property taxes, about 6.6% of the average household income goes to property taxes in that district. So it is a regional issue of these growing schools. So 76 will get us there. I like it. I voted for it. I support it. That is the end goal. This took some of the things out of 76. What we can get past now for direct dollar for dollar shifts and controlling out-year spending increases in those school districts, and it drives it back through a new funding formula that is going to benefit those school districts that are being punished right now with having some of those higher taxes.
And just very briefly, what's the next step at this point?
Yeah. Well, the next step is now obviously the Senate will have this proposal. If the Senate can amend House Bill 504 with 76 and send it back to us, I'd happily vote for 76 again. If they can get a proposal to us and get something back to the governor's desk. But I think when I look at this and what we need to do to provide relief, I think there's a couple of things that have to be in a property tax bill and it's our plan, and that's why I didn't support the governor's plan, because he didn't have the main factors. One is dollar for dollar relief. Every new dollar that's generated must go back to property taxes. The governor's plan did not do that. It was a massive spending increase. The other part is cost controls in out year. The governor's plan had no cost controls in as far as controlling out year increases. This has that in that mechanism to apply against the Act 1 index and eliminating those exemptions moving forward. So I think those are key elements to anything as I continue to work with my colleagues of what we can get passed, what we can get the votes for to provide that relief for the residents throughout Carbon County.
Well, thank you for keeping us updated, and we'll check in later about it.
All right, thank you, Lori.
Sure. And that's all the time we have for today's program. If you need assistance with any state matter, please feel free to contact Representative Heffley at his local office or through his website. The address and number will be shown in just a moment. Thanks for watching, and please join us next time for Legislative Report.